All right, let's go.
Part of the sports desk on Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 FM, Lexington.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you could stream the show live from the station website at radiolex.us to listen to the show from anywhere in the entire world. I am broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. It is June the 13th, 2024. And folks, those who listen to this show knows that this isn't a sports show, so typically I don't start the show talking about sports, but it is worth mentioning sports at the top of the hour because, folks, living here in this state, it's been a big monumental week for sports here in Kentucky because the Kentucky Wildcats, for the first time ever, are in the College Baseball World Series. It marks the first time that they've ever reached this pinnacle. They defeated Oregon State to finally solidify their spot in the World Series. Now, I thought that the World Series was just like the MLB in college. I thought that when you're in the World Series, it was just down to two teams. Not so much in college. As a matter of fact, the College World Series makes up of 8 teams. It is North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, NC State, Kentucky, and Texas A&M. We will face NC State in Game 1 of our World Series matchup. And the Kentucky baseball team has had such an incredible year, and it must feel really good to be a part of that team because usually it's overshadowed every year by football and basketball. And when you play a sport for the University of Kentucky, you would think you would get a lot of recognition from that. But if it's not basketball or football, not really. But this year, the baseball team can say they're getting just as much. The Wildcats, they finished with a 22-8 record in league play during the regular season. It says here that the Wildcats enter the World Series with a 45-14 record. It's Kentucky's 40th win season. Kentucky coach Nick Migion was named the Conference Coach of the Year. I like that coach. I feel like that he is very humbled by his team getting to where they're at. He is a first-time head coach. Think about that. A first-time head coach going to the World Series of college baseball. Pretty impressive. Kentucky now is 45 wins they've had. They tied for the most in school history. Kentucky is 19-3 in night games. Kentucky is 26-6 at home. The crowd of 7,558 set a new all-time Kentucky record previously set in the Game 1. Kentucky is 5-0 in the 2024 NCAA tournament. Kentucky won its first ever super regional this year. Kentucky's pitchers this year have allowed 4 run over the last 39 innings. Kentucky now has won 17 games this season versus ranked opponents. I mean, so the accomplishments, they just keep piling on and piling on. UK coach Nick Migion is in his 8th season at the helm of the Kentucky Wildcats with a career record of 261 and 164. He is now the second winningest coach in school history. UK is 13-6 in NCAA tournament under Migion, and UK is 2-4 in NCAA Super Regional action. So congratulations to the Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, what an accomplishment this is for their college baseball team. If you've never been out to Kentucky Proud Park, it is a place to go and visit if you really want to. You don't want to go to Cincinnati to watch the Reds if it's too long for you, if it's just too expensive. You can get your best bang for your buck if you live in town by just going to a college baseball game. The atmosphere is great. Here are some fun facts about the College World Series. I never knew much about the College World Series before this year because Kentucky never even came close to it. So I was never really interested enough in college baseball until this year. So I never knew many facts about the College World Series. So here are a few. Maybe you haven't heard much about the College World Series. It says here that the inaugural College World Series was held in 1947, and it was held in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The University of California swept Yale to win the first College World Series. Before becoming commander-in-chief, George H.W. Bush was leading on the diamond. Bush played first base and captain in the 1948 Yale baseball team that lost in the championship round to Southern California. Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that the Bushes, both former President Bushes, were big baseball fans. First presidents who ever attend was George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush was the first president to attend the College World Series. In 2001, Bush threw out the first pitch, and that was right after September 11th. I remember even when he was walking out to the mound, he had on a bulletproof vest. Because America was in such a, disarray at the time. Before determining Omaha was to be the permanent home for the College World Series, the tournament was held in two other locations. It was Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Wichita, Kansas. And they declared Omaha the official home of the College World Baseball Series in 1950, and it's been held there since. So over 60, 70 years, this tournament, the World Series of College Baseball, has been held in Omaha, Nebraska. So at least Omaha is known for something. Of course, in a tournament of the best college teams, there's always going to be stars that emerges. Barry Bonds is one of the most notable players to make it to the pros. Millions and millions of fans are always in attendance to the College World Series. It says here in 2012, there have been over 8 million fans. As of 2012, there have been over 8 million fans to attend the College World Series in Omaha. And it says here that Southern California has won the College World Series more than any other team in the nation. The Trojans have 12 championships, double its next closest competition is Texas and LSU. So, you know how Kentucky is known for basketball, Alabama is known for football. Seems that Southern California is known for college baseball. But Kentucky's first game will be at 2 p.m. on Saturday versus NC State. Kentucky will be in the home dugout. That's the third base side for Saturday's game against NC State. So looking forward to that. But folks, we have a great show ahead of you today. You are listening to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm DJ Walt C of the Time Capsule Show. You're listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Radio Lex has the support of the Bluegrass Community and Technical College Latinx and Immigrant Outreach Program.
Motorcycles are motor vehicles just like cars and trucks and should be treated accordingly. Auto drivers should understand the challenges faced by motorcyclists. By size and visibility, as well as special motorcycle driving techniques like downshifting and weaving. Motorcycle drivers are required to obey helmet laws and other rules of the road. Hi, this is Clark with State Farm, reminding you to be a good neighbor and keep our roads safe for everyone.
Radio Lex has the support of Founders Circle member Cy Pugh. Thanks, Cy.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. The Wildcats are definitely excited as they travel down to Omaha. I don't know, is it down to Omaha, up to Omaha? Where is Nebraska on the map? I didn't do very good at geography. My friend Jordan, who's been on the show before, he texted me and said, y'all down to go to Omaha, Nebraska this weekend? It sounds fun. I like the idea of it, but that's a massive drive. 11 to 12 hours is how long it takes. I'm good on that. But I think that Jordan would probably still end up there. But congratulations to the University of Kentucky Wildcats. I'm excited to see what happens there. Folks, we started the show talking about baseball, college baseball for that matter, but we do know that not only is college baseball in full swing, but so is, well, college baseball is winding down, but the MLB is in full swing. And I'm a huge Cincinnati Reds fan. They just finished a small series against the Cleveland Guardians. Their record right now is 33-35. They start a new series with the Brewers tomorrow. I'm pretty comfortable with how the Reds are looking right now. I think that the Reds could potentially end up in the playoffs. Call me crazy. I think they're good enough to do that. But I love watching baseball, as shocking as that sounds, because baseball is such a slow, sometimes mundane sport to watch on television. It still is such a fun thing to watch and have on in the background, because you don't have to pay attention to everything. You can do other things while the game is on. You can have it on your iPad and work out in your garage. You could have it on while you're, I don't know, working on something like a project at your house. Maybe you're working on a puzzle or whatnot. You can do so many things while the baseball game is going on. So I have been watching a lot of MLB this year, and because of that, I have noticed many different networks that show the MLB games. Now, we usually think that only ESPN shows sports. That's not true. Not only does ESPN show sports, but so does CBS and ABC and NBC and Fox. And each individual network has their own network theme song. And on the show before, we've talked about that. We've talked about some of the best network theme songs for basketball, for the NBA. I played the different ones that each network has their own theme song when they're playing a certain sport. So TNT has their own theme song, CBS, ABC. And the same thing applies to baseball, MLB. So what channels what channels broadcast the MLB? Well, first of all, we know that ESPN does. They've got this amazing theme song right here. This is Major League Baseball on ESPN. So any time that you turn on ESPN to watch college baseball, you are going to hear this music right here. I think that, honestly, this is probably one of the best network theme musics for the MLB. That's why I wanted to start off with that. But this is the ESPN baseball theme, and they've been using this theme since 1990. And that's what I want to talk about right now, is I would like to talk about the best MLB broadcast theme songs throughout time. Now, we've done this before with the NBA. I've talked about some of the best NBA broadcast theme songs. But what about the best MLB, Major League Baseball broadcast theme songs? And we'll start with this one right here. This is MLB on ESPN. And this theme was from composer Clark Galt. And he has undergone various updates of this theme over the past 25 years, but the tune has an undeniable staying power. You know, this tune has been the same since 1990. He's just went back and revised it just a tad here and there. But for the most part, this tune has remained the same, and it's very recognizable. When you hear this music, you know a baseball game is getting ready to come on ESPN, and I think it's one of the best. I said it's one of the best. I don't think it is the best because, folks, what about MLB on Fox? This is the MLB on Fox network theme music. Excuse me, that's ESPN. This is MLB on Fox. Yes, this just makes it feel like a big game. You know that you're mainstream, you're the front stage, you are the main event if you are playing baseball on Fox. They have had this theme since 1996. They debuted it in the fall that year. This is a very aggressive, in-your-face theme, and it was composed by Scott Schreier. I have been at Reds games before where they have been broadcast on Fox. And whenever a Reds game is broadcast on Fox, you know it because you can hear this theme throughout the stadium because they've got it on TV all throughout the ballpark. So you can hear this theme all throughout the ballpark when they're on Fox. I love it. But folks, there are definitely more MLB broadcast theme songs that are great, not only from ESPN and Fox, but what about TBS? This is the MLB on TBS, and this is called Water Tower. That's what they call this piece of music, and it was created by Mark Willett. TBS has been a big advocate and broadcast network for the MLB for many years because Ted Turner, the founder of TBS, was a big baseball fan. He actually owned the Atlanta Braves back in the 80s and 90s, and a lot of Atlanta Braves baseball games were shown on TBS because he owned the team and he owned the network TBS. So when the owner owns a TV station and a baseball team, it makes sense that the baseball team is going to be played on the TV station you own. But TBS showed other games besides the Atlanta Braves. They showed the Chicago Bulls a lot. Sometimes, occasionally, they would show the Reds. Again, I always feel like the game feels like a much bigger game when it's on TBS. Because arguably, TBS is one of the most premier cable channels in the history of cable. You've got great network TV like NBC, CBS, ABC, but as far as cable channels, what do you feel like are the best? I'd say TBS is right up there with the best. And one of the things that makes TBS such a great channel is they have such a great sports division. And they don't shortcut anything, even the theme music. I mean, listen at their theme music for MLB baseball. Yes, who's ready to watch some baseball? All right, coming up next on my list as one of the best MLB broadcast theme songs throughout time is going to come from the network CBS. Now, this is the CBS baseball theme, and it was introduced to the world in 1990, and they used it all the way to 1993. And then it had a very diverse music after 93. They went through several different selections of music, but they brought this theme song back in 2015, and they still use it today. Now, despite fan grumbling, over the quality of CBS baseball coverage, because CBS doesn't show baseball. I don't know if they show baseball at all these days, but they used to. But when they did play it, they would always have this theme on it. This just sounds like the end of a movie, the end of a sports movie that is just a good, feel-good movie. Okay, coming up next on my list, folks, is one of the best MLB broadcast theme songs of all time. Comes from the network NBC. This is when NBC shows baseball games. Take a listen. Now, NBC used to always, back in the 80s, they always had a game of the week, and this was the game of the week theme when they had it on NBC. Now, no longer does MLB broadcast on NBC, and if you ask why they don't broadcast on certain networks anymore, folks, it's all about money and contracts and negotiation. These networks, they all bid on these sports leagues to show their sport, to cover the sport, to show coverage. And all of these networks, they bid on covering these sports. And they're bidding millions of dollars. So sometimes they get outbid and they lose. And when they lose, they can't show any coverage of the certain league. Well, back in the day when NBC had it, they always had a game of the week. And this was the theme music they always played. Every network's different. So you're not going to hear this music on ESPN. You're not going to hear this on CBS. Definitely not going to hear it on Fox. But you'll hear it on NBC. Okay, coming up next on my list is one of the best MLB broadcast theme songs throughout time. Comes from the network ABC. Now, folks, ABC used to be a huge network for baseball coverage in the 80s and 90s. They used to have this thing called Monday Night Baseball, and they had several themes to Monday Night Baseball, and this was their biggest and most popular. Now, Monday Night Baseball never did get as big as Monday Night Football. For good reason. Baseball isn't as exciting as football, week to week to week to week to week. So it makes sense that people were tuning in to watch other things other than Monday Night Baseball, especially when it's up against football. But once upon a time, folks, there was a thing called Monday Night Baseball on ABC, and this was the theme. I mean, such a classic theme, I will say. Now, we do have some more here. Nowadays, network television, it's all about a bidding war, as I was saying. So it makes it even tougher for these networks to bid on these these leagues because there's so many networks these days. There's not just ABC, CBS, NBC anymore. You've got things like the MLB network. Yes, there's a whole network dedicated to the MLB. It's called the MLB network, and this is the MLB theme song for the MLB Network. Now, my opinion, personally, behind the Fox theme, I think this is the second best. The bulk of your baseball games is going to be on the MLB Network. And they have been using this theme on the MLB Network since 2009. No need to change it, I don't think. I don't think you should ever change it. I think this identity is a good identity to have attached to your network. Great music. It's got just enough excitement, just enough edge of your seat to it. Definitely dig this network theme music. And then finally, on my list, folks, the last one, as one of the best MLB broadcast theme songs throughout time, comes from the network Bally Sports. Bally Sports is the network that shows all of the regional games. This is the network that 90% of the Reds games are played on. Bally Sports is a little frustrating. You can only get this network on DirecTV and Spectrum. If you don't have either or, I think it's on YouTube TV streaming now. But if you don't have either of those, you're just up the creek without a paddle. So I, unfortunately, have to pay like an extra $50 for a sports package just to get the Bally Sports Network. But oh well, it's worth it. But this, folks, is a great network theme song for the MLB, and this is used by Bally Sports. So what do you think's the best? Do you think it's Bally Sports? Do you think it's the MLB Network? Do you think it's ABC, CBS, NBC, TBS, Fox? What do you think's the best? I'm going to have to say Fox, but right behind it is a close MLB Network. That's what I'm going to put at number 2. But that, folks, pretty much wraps up the best MLB broadcast theme songs throughout time. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. We got to do this with the NBA. We got to go through all of the best NBA broadcast theme songs throughout time. And this, today on the show, is the best MLB broadcast theme songs throughout time. And I wanted to do this in light of MLB baseball happening in full swing. Let's go Reds. All right, folks, we still have lots more Off the Cuff with Adam Banks coming at you live after these words. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
We are Radio Lex, WLXU, 93.9 LP FM, Lexington, Kentucky. Radio Lex has the support of Founders Circle member CHI St. Joseph Health. CHI St. Joseph Health.org.
It's everybody's favorite cousin, Shook Nasty. Make sure you tune in to Cash the Trash Radio on Radio Lex.
Hey, Elaine. What's up? Hey.
Cash it up.
Anyone operating a motor vehicle in Kentucky must have a valid driver's license. All vehicles in Kentucky must be insured or the license plate must be surrendered to the county clerk. Driving without insurance can result in heavy fines and even jail time. Renew your vehicle registration each year and submit your proof of insurance. Renewal tags change color every year, and if yours is expired, it increases the likelihood you'll be stopped by the police. Hi, this is Paul Island with State Farm, reminding you to be a good neighbor and keep your license and registration up to date.
Radio Lex has the support of vinyl sponsor, the JCC Group family of companies. thejccgroup.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. A lot of great inventions have happened over my lifetime. But a lot of inventions happened before my life that has really helped my life be a lot better. For instance, the PC, the telephone, the tablet. A lot of inventions get a lot of glory. Do you know one invention that don't get a lot of glory, though, that doesn't get a lot of attention, and that's the sewing machine? Well, today on the show, folks, the sewing machine is going to get some attention because that is today's national holiday. Today is National Sewing Machine Day. Now, sewing machines, it's a hard thing to do. I can't sew. My mama used to sew. I used to love watching her sew because it was so fascinating. And she could do it without a sewing machine. She did it with hands, thread and needle. But the sewing machine definitely made it a lot easier. The sewing machine was patented in 1791 by Thomas Saint. In 1946, Toyota builds its first sewing machine. Here are some things that you could do to celebrate National Sewing Machine Day. You could sew something for charity. You could connect with your fellow crafters, maybe go to a sewing machine crafting facility and just sew away. You can get inspired by TV. Look and see what kind of things that you like on TV. Maybe curtains, maybe a certain type of fabric that you see in somebody's house and sew it. So just try to celebrate it today by maybe connecting with your heritage. Maybe your mama likes to sew or your mom likes to sew. You will be surprised how good you'll feel if you start sewing, knowing that you're doing something that is in your blood. I know my mama could sew with the best of them. I'm talking, she was good at it. And if I started to sew right now, I would have her on my mind the whole time, which is okay with me. And sewing is a relaxing yet productive hobby. It's like coloring. You're paying attention to something, you're accomplishing something, you're getting a sense of completion. Valerie says on the show thread, I used my sewing machine 2 days ago, for real. Well, Valerie, use it today because today is National Sewing Machine Day. And Elaine said on the show thread, crocheting is in my blood. Well, you're really going to feel good today, Elaine, if you do it. Because today is National Sewing Machine Day. And folks, go out there and celebrate it by doing a couple of those things. I think that you will be happy that you did. But this seems like a good place to take Off the Cuff's Song of the Week break. Let's take a stroll down memory lane and play a little Eminem. Here's Houdini. We'll be back after the song.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Whew. Crocheting is, I had a student, she was 19 years old, and she showed the class for her demonstration how to sew. And I thought that was so cool. She was showing us how to crochet, and I just thought it was such a cool thing to show because it's such a dying art. I feel like a lot of people are not doing that anymore. They're not keeping up with that art. So I'm happy to see that young people like her were still doing it. Miller says, I love to crochet too, but I did it a lot more before I had a smartphone. Yeah. Smartphones takes us away from our activities. So what's the difference in crocheting and sewing, or is that the same thing? I guess sewing would be like fixing a shirt, like a tear, and then crocheting would be fixing a blanket, maybe. When you think of logos in the world, what comes to mind? To me, you've got the Nike check mark, maybe the Colonel Sanders face for KFC. Well, certain logos are very identifiable. You know exactly what company you're looking at just based off of the logo. It don't have to have a name. You can just look at the logo and you know exactly what it is. And we've done a whole segment on some of the most iconic logos in the world. But one of the most recognizable logos, I feel like, in the world is the NBA logo. And the NBA logo was an actual silhouette of an old NBA player named Jerry West. Jerry West was the NBA logo was an actual person, and they just took the silhouette of that person and made it into the logo. Well, folks, the man behind the silhouette, the man who they used for the NBA logo, Jerry West, has died at the age of 86 years old. He died yesterday, surrounded by his loved ones on June the 12th at the age of 86 years old. He has been working as an advisor for the Clippers since 2017, but he definitely has made his mark in the world as being a Los Angeles Laker. He is a Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame member, and he was a member of West Virginia University before playing 14 seasons for the LA Lakers. Before turning pro, Jerry West played in on what generally regarded as one of the greatest amateur basketball teams in history, and that was the 1960 gold medal winning Americans. So he won an Olympic gold medal in addition to winning 2 championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. Jerry West continued his greatness into the pro ranks, leading the Lakers to 9 appearances in the NBA Finals, capturing the title once in 1972. So, excuse me, he won one in 1972. I could have swore he won more than one, but he won two. I could have swore he won more than one, but I guess he just won one. Now, despite the fact that Jerry West's career came in an era with a much shorter playoff schedule, his name is still all over the NBA postseason record books. He's got 4,457 points. That's the 9th most of anybody in NBA history. In regular season play, Jerry West made 7,160 free throws. That's the 9th most in NBA history. He was named to the NBA's all-time team amongst the 75 greatest to ever do it in the last 75 years. He spent nearly 2 decades in the Lakers front office serving as general manager and helping assemble the famed Showtime Lakers. That was the people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson. He captured, as a manager, he captured the 1980, 82, 85, 87, 88, and 2000 NBA titles. So think about that. And after that, he went on to work for the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. And while he worked for the Golden State Warriors in the front office, he won 2 additional NBA titles in 2015 and 2017. That's his 7th and 8th championship rings as an executive. 8 rings as an executive and 1 ring as a player. That's a pretty successful person in the business of basketball. I used to think that it was Pat Riley, and I'll still say it's probably Pat Riley if you're looking at an overall success in the sport. Jerry West is right up there with him. Some could argue he is the most when it comes to the logo, because most modern fans today only know him as the logo. It says here that the red, white, and blue logo, which was designed in 1969 by Alan Siegel, remains one of the most enduring images in North American sports. It all come together because the artist friend noted that as they were going through pictures of the NBA, he just liked the picture and the image of Jerry West dribbling with his left hand and driving to the hoop. It said it just jumped out at him. And he wanted to use that silhouette for the NBA logo. And nobody ever really knows when they're creating something how much it will take off and how recognizable it will be. I mean, think about Nike and the check mark. I think they paid the girl who created the Nike check mark $15 for it because she didn't know that a check mark would be the most iconic check mark in the world, but she did. So just in a nutshell, here are the accomplishments of Mr. Jerry West. 1972 NBA champ, 1969 NBA's final MVP, 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA team, 5-time All-Defensive team, 8-time NBA champion as an executive. He traded for Shaq and drafted Kobe. And I mean, think about that. He traded for Shaq and drafted Kobe. He's the reason why the Lakers were successful in the 2000s. And obviously, he's the logo of the NBA. I mean, my goodness. What an inspiration in the game of basketball. What an inspiration just overall. It says here that the artist of the NBA logo, he said, I always admired Jerry West, but I liked the picture of him because it was a nice vertical and had a great motion to it. I was a fan of his, and he was one of those people who had an important history in the NBA. Well, I think he picked a pretty good person to be the silhouette of Jerry West. You can see a little bit about Jerry West's life on the new HBO TV show they've got out about the Showtime Lakers. It's called Winning Time, and they really do portray a very funny Jerry West in that show. So I found out a lot about him just by watching that show. A lot of people in West Virginia are mourning his passing. He was a big star in West Virginia, maybe one of the biggest stars to ever come out of West Virginia, quite possibly, or definitely the biggest basketball star to come out of the state, an absolute icon, and rest in peace to Jerry West. All right, folks, we still have one more segment to go right here on Off the Cuff. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
What should you do if you suspect you're sharing a road with a drunk driver? Don't try to pass them or get them to pull over. Take down the license number. Then get off the road and call 911. Tell the operator to make and license plate number of the vehicle, as well as the time and location. Traffic authorities will take care of the rest. Hi, this is Sheldon with State Farm, reminding you to be a good neighbor and keep alcohol off our roadways.
Radio Lex has the support of Founders Circle member Lexmark International.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. It's funny, at the top of the hour, I said that this is not a sports show. And it's not. I promise you it's not. But it seems like that every single topic has been a sports topic, except the sewing machine topic. Well, folks, that just seems to be what's in the forefront right now. Don't worry. There'll be more to talk about. Don't worry. We've got a presidential election coming up very, very soon. And I know you'll get sick of that. So enjoy these light-hearted conversations as we can still have them before we get into all of that political talk in just a couple of months. But Folks, the NBA Finals are well underway. They began last week. I previewed the finals last week, but since we were on the air, 3 games have been played. And we are looking at a best of 7 between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. Both teams are competing to be the 2024 World NBA Champions. Game 1 was last Thursday, and the Boston Celtics, they established their elite offense and defensive presence in Game 1 of the NBA Finals with a 107-89 victory against the Dallas Mavericks. And Game 2, 105-98 win over the Dallas Mavericks in Game 2 of the NBA Finals on Sunday. So that puts Boston 2-0. And then in Game 3, the Celtics took control of the finals. That was yesterday with a 106-99 victory for a 3-0 series lead. So it seems like that the Boston Celtics are just working the Dallas Mavericks up and down the court, up and down and all around. They are 1 victory from their first championship since 2008 and their 18th overall, which would break a tie with the LA Lakers for most titles in NBA history. So right now, the Lakers and the Boston Celtics are tied for the most NBA titles at 18. And if Boston wins, which it's looking like they're going to have the most NBA titles than any other NBA team. So it's always going back and forth between the Lakers and the Celtics. Lakers, Celtics. They trade that throne all of the time. Who's number 1? Because sometimes the Lakers are good, sometimes the Celtics are good. This year, it's the year of the Celtics. Game 4 will take place tomorrow. That is Friday, June the 14th at 8:30. And that will be on ABC. So, folks, sorry about all the sports talk today. Normally, Off the Cuff with Adam Banks comes on. We talk a lot about pop culture and things going on, but sports can be grouped into pop culture as well. So, you just never really know what you're going to get. You listen to this show long enough, eventually you're going to hear something that you like. If you have not gotten a chance to listen to me on Sundays, I am on another radio station, which I will not say what it is on this radio station, just for out of respect out of the station that I work for here. But I will post the radio station that I am on my podcast website. I will post it on this episode. So if you want to look at the description, I will tell you what radio station that I am on and how you can listen to it. But I am on every Sunday from 3 to 7. I am a radio DJ during that time, playing music, come on between songs and talk. It's not so much like Off the Cuff. As a matter of fact, it's not like Off the Cuff at all. I'm not doing a talk show on Sundays. Let me just be clear. It's a music show. But I would really appreciate your support. You really can't do anything without your fans, and you're only as good as much as your fans support you. So I do appreciate all of those who support me. You know who you are. But folks, that pretty much wraps up another episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. If you liked what you heard today, you'll probably like our previous episodes. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or wherever you stream your favorite podcast. They're all archived, folks. Every single one of them. From episode 1 to the most recent episode, you can listen to all of our shows. Just go to our podcast and listen. They're commercial free. You can follow the show on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and I believe that's it. Oh, we're on TikTok too. And you can follow me on social at The Adam Banks. We release new episodes every Thursday from 4 to 5 right here on WLXU at 93.9 FM, which means we will be back same time, same place. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Off the Cuff, and I am Adam Banks, the king of radio. I'll catch you down the road. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you next